Hey guys, Parfax here. Today I am bringing you the Battleground Bulldog build that I had a trailer for it was a week or two ago, but I wanted to bring it to you. I hope you guys are excited, and let's get to it. So I'm on my Stam Sorc here, and I wanted to bring you this build. This build's a lot of fun. Now I will preface this with, if you just want to run something like Unleashed with the Maelstrom Perfected Sword and Red Mountain, you can do stuff like that, and it's probably going to be better. Like, it is better. Like, right now, especially on almost every class, if you're just running double or triple proc sets, it's going to be better. But I want to bring you guys a build that doesn't make you have to run these really cheesy proc sets. I know if you want to run them, that's fine, but I'm going to give you something that's maybe a little bit alternative. It's a lot of fun, and 99.9% of the time, you're not going to really notice it. Like, if you can just outskill your opponent, then you're still going to beat them, even if they have their super proc sets, especially with something like the Stam Sorc. So let's talk about it. So as you can see here, we will start with one of my favorite things that came in this last update, which is the Gaze of Sithis helm. I love it. I got the tri-stat on it. With Divines, you probably want Impen here, or not. Impen's probably what you want here. But it came with Divines. I'm not going to swap it. I run this on so many builds. Divines is perfect for pretty much what I need. You can run well fitted as well. Well, I always like to do 5-piece well fitted, 5-piece Impen, 2-piece well fitted is kind of what I like to run on my stamina characters, because you do dodge a decent amount, and you still want that Impen gear. So we are also running a Dama House epaulets here, just the 1-piece. And you obviously, like I said, I already talked about the traits. I know this trait's off, but I didn't want to transmute it. That's just me being selfish. You know, I find that you don't need everything perfect. You can go out there and you can have a very off meta, or not necessarily off meta, but you can have very imperfect gear and still do a lot. So don't spend all of your crystals on maybe a build that you might not want to run, or just don't spend a whole lot unless you're really sure, because transmute crystals are expensive. I mean, I do have 205, but you know, I'm definitely saving those for specific builds, hopefully, and I don't really want to waste them too much. So two well fitted here would be great, and then 5-piece Impen is really good. So you probably saw the other set I'm running, or at least one of them, and that is Briarheart. Briarheart is a really good set for the Stamina Sorc. I actually got this from Parfaxgaming. He's actually the one that I saw a video on his Stam Sorc, and he was running this, and I was like, well, that's actually a pretty good idea. Just synergizes really well. You're going to keep that up 100% of the time, because you're just going to crit rush, and it's just really good. So nothing much more to say about it. And then we're running Sword Singers. This is actually a very underrated set. If you guys know my content, I really love these 600 weapon damage or spell damage sets. They're really good on certain classes, and this one is no joke. Like, we are running a bunch of two-handed abilities, which we'll get to in a second, but it really pumps up our damage and is really good. We're running the double poison on the front bar. It's just a very go-to good poison, just pretty much good all over. We are running infused jewelry. As you can see, I don't have it purple, but I put out a poll, and you guys said you like to see builds that are not necessarily fully geared out, not fully legendary. I did have a full set of legendary Briarheart, which is the reason why some of this is legendary, but we don't have everything legendary. And then we have the Briarheart Maul sharpened. We're getting that super big penetration with the Maul, and then we're getting the penetration from the sharpened trait, pretty standard there. And we're going with, you guys probably could have guessed it, the Masters Infused bow. I love this bow. Perfected, obviously, if you have it, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, because you're gonna be swapping to your front bar. But this bow is pretty insane. I love it. An extra free 330 weapon damage is pretty nuts. So when it comes to, we'll go food next. I run Bewitched Sugar Skulls for the most part. We use all three of our resources a ton, which is the reason why we're running Dama House epaulets there. And this is just going to give us all three resources, because remember, Magic is stamina and health on this build, and we do use a decent amount of magic, so we want to make sure we have that up pretty high. And obviously we want our stamina, and the health recovery is pretty good. It synergizes pretty well because we actually have a decent amount of health recovery already. And obviously we're just running basic tripods. We're getting all the buffs we need from our skills, so we really don't need anything else. So let's go to stats. I know you guys really like to see the stats, and for the stats we are looking at, I do have 20 points into health, 44 into stamina. You can do whatever you want here. This was for a specific thing. I wanted to hit a kind of a threshold. We do have 28,000, almost 29,000 health here, and I wanted to make sure I had, I think it was 26 and no CP. But put these points where you will, you're just losing a little bit of health here. We have 33,546 stamina, which is pretty good. We have we're in, which bar are we on? Okay, we are in this bar. We have 7,000 physical penetration, and we have some 16,900 physical and spell resistance. Now we can go ahead and buff, so you can see our weapon damage. And our weapon damage is, with the Warrior Mundus Stone, we are sitting at about 5,000 weapon damage. Not a whole lot, but remember, both these sets don't go off of the tooltip weapon damage. We are getting an extra 445 from that and 565 from this. So you don't see those on the tooltip, which is the reason why I think a lot of people don't like these builds, because it's, people really want to see the stats and really want to see the tooltips. Everybody's pretty much like insane over these, but you know, the stats and stuff like that. But in a lot of builds, especially ones like this, you'll get a lot more weapon damage than you actually think. Plus, remember, we are going to get an extra 782 weapon damage from our master's bar back here. So when you look at that, you know, 5,000, 6,000 weapon damage, and you think it's really low, you got to factor in the 600 you can get from Soul Singers, the 400 and I think 50 you can get from here, and the 782 you can get from here. So we actually have a lot more weapon damage than it actually looks, but I thought I would show you that. This is a battleground build, so we don't have it, you know, it's not CP, but we can show you what I would put into CP. I would do all of your typical things. I would put precision. I would go the critical damage node here. We would then go biting aura, deadly aim, and area effectiveness. We wouldn't go biting aura. We'd go master of arms, deadly aim, and I would probably just go probably wraithful strikes here. I don't know exactly what is the most damage. We could probably go the stamina node, which is pretty good too. But kind of pick your poison. We really don't have a whole lot of AoE. We have a little bit, but not a whole lot. We could go the damage over time on this one, which wouldn't be bad because we are running poison injection, and we do have some pots. Well, I guess it's just that's the direct damage, but we have the thaumaturge here. So it would increase those, and then obviously you always want your preparation. You always want your penetration, which that needed to be maxed out. And then mighty is really good as well. Make sure you get that node right there. And that's sort of the champion points. I didn't want to go over it too much because it's not really that big of a deal, because this is mainly a battlegrounds build. But let's go over the skills here. So the skills here, we are running Stampede. You can run crit charge if you want, that's fine. One little combo I like to do is I like to Stampede into a streak, which will then give them that dot that they sit in, and then I come back to them, and by the time I get back to them, they broke free, but they're not really running. Maybe we're like fighting there and they get a lot of damage over there. You can run whichever one you want. I've been liking Stampede since they buffed it, but I understand if you want to go the other route. It is a very nice dot, especially in battlegrounds where a lot of people are standing stationary on a point or something like that. It is a lot of free damage that you're going to get out just for crit charging in there. We are course running Dizzying Swing. Dizzying Swing is kind of the bread and butter of the two-handed class. And again, we're running Sword Singer. So this synergizes really good with these two-handed abilities. We're running Bound Armaments. It's just going to give us a lot. It's going to give us 8% of our max stamina. It's going to give us our light attacks deal 10% more damage. So when we're weaving, and just going to give us some physical and or let's see, when you activate it, it's going to do some physical damage. And you know, arm yourself with Power of Oblivion for 40 seconds, causing your light and heavy attacks to summon a bound weapons for 10 seconds. So we're going to stack that up and then hit them with the activation to deal some extra damage. And then Executioner, of course. I already talked about Streak, and we're running Onslaught. Now, if you want to run Dawnbreaker, that's fine, but this just hits really hard with the Sword Singer plus the Briarheart. So we're going with that, and it's very much a single target skill. It does a ton of damage. It is easy to dodge, but when you get it off, it is very, very satisfying. Let's go to our back bar. A lot of it's very standard. We have, of course, Poison Injection. I love this skill. If you know me, you know how much I love this skill. We're running Hurricane, Resolving Vigor, Dark Deal, Crit Surge, and we're running Summon Charged Atronach. I actually like this Atro. It's actually pretty good. I use this solely to try to 1vx. When I have a lot of people on me, this is what I'll put down, and I will kite around my Atro and kill people that way. I've gotten a lot of kills outnumbered because I will go around a corner, they'll come around, I'll drop the Atro on them, and then I'll fight inside that Atro. You can run other things here, like if you have the Psijic skill line, that's always a good bet here to run their ultimate. That's always my go-to ultimate. If you don't know what to put there, always put that ultimate. It's just really good. But this just gives me the more outplay potential than maybe the two-hander gives me in certain situations, which I really like it. So that's the skills, and of course make sure you get all your passives and everything like that. I showed you pretty much everything, so I hope you enjoyed that build. We have a couple clips coming up after this. I did just kind of reiterate, I did say the Warrior Mundus Stone. I kind of glossed over it, but we do have the Warrior Mundus Stone. And I hope you enjoyed this build. I have a lot of fun playing it. I haven't played it much. We've been playing, if you haven't paid attention or you haven't seen any of my live streams, we've basically been playing Nightblade nonstop. But I wanted to get you this build out there because I know you guys have been waiting for it. And honestly, it's pretty insane. I call it the Battleground Bulldog because you're like a bulldog. Nobody gets away. You chase down your opponent. You're relentless. You can get away with Streak. You know, you get pressured and you're just like, because we have 18,000 magic, just like boop. We can Streak 3 times in a row. You can't do that a whole lot on, stamina builds. I mean, not that stamina has Streak, but that's a lot of magic we used. So you can Streak, if you have full magic 3 times, and even if you have a little bit less than full magic, you can Streak 3 times. You can crit charge and Streak twice. So you have a lot of outplay potential with this build. Use Streak offensively and defensively. It's pretty insane. And yeah, so that's the build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was pretty quick. I want to give you just kind of a quick build on this, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on twitch.tv/Parfaxgaming. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hope you enjoy these couple quick clips, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.